Hey guys, welcome back to the carving room slash workshop now. Uh, Today we're going to do a little mushroom project. I've been fooling around the last couple days, made up a couple, three or four of these little mushroom guys. I started out with this fella here, and then I got down a little bit smaller to this one. And I whipped up another one this morning. I thought, you know what, let's just make a video. Show you guys how to make yourself a little mushroom character. Nice, fun, little easy project, and yeah, kind of seasonal. So, got a piece of wood here today. It's a bass wood. It's 1.25 inches squared by 3 inches, tall. And for you metric people, that's roughly, what is that, 72 millimeters tall. And 33, 34 millimeters square. All right. So I get lots of requests for that. I guess people don't know how to use Google, but I'll give you millimeters today, but I'll forget later for sure. So anyway, I'm gonna make up a little mushroom guy. I'm gonna use my 1.75 inch Helvey knife, and we'll probably bring in a V-tool. So if you're new to this, I have a whole playlist of getting started in the wood carving hobby. So get you from your tools to your cuts to safety and all that stuff. So before you ask the questions, go back and check out the whole series of tutorials I made on getting started. So that said, got a sharp knife. If you got a glove, put a glove on. But let's just get cracking. Alright, with our block of wood being 3 inches tall, let's just go on the back side, 3 inches. Let's mark halfway, 1.5 inches, alright? And then on the front, we're going to use the front. The point is going to be the front, so we're going to save a nose out of that point. So we're going to do it like not square, but on an angle. And we'll come up, let's say 2.25, which is 57 millimeters. So halfway in the back, 2.25, 57 mils. And we're just going to try and find that angle there. It's not hard. It doesn't matter because it's going to be round after, so we're not really too concerned. But that's our jump off point. All right, just like so. And this is going to be the front. All I'm going to do in the beginning here is going to dig these in. Now, see my knife angle? I'm not going straight in. I'm going to keep that, whoops, I want to keep that on a bit of a downward angle. Alright, so let's just find all of our corners here, which we will eventually lose again, but it's always good just to get a rough layout of where we're headed. Alright. There's lots of play here. Like I said, we're just going to rough it all out. Okay? See that? Now let's just join them all up. Can you see that angle that I'm coming down on? Or can you? Just down a little bit, not straight in. Right? This carving, this is, if you don't have the size of block of wood or you want to make it bigger, this will give you all the concept of the carving, and it'll translate to anything. You just have to use your imagination. If you want a bigger cap or bigger body, whatever. But there you go. That's where we're at. That's roughly carved in. Now, it should be noted, You can see how the back of the center of the cap is back here. It's not centered on the block of wood. So if this is the front, our center is probably going to end up, you know, on the back side of center. Right? It's kind of like a cap on an angle. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to take all these corners off. Right. And then we're going to work our way back to the center of a cap, all the way around. I just dropped this knife up, so she's ready to roll. Working all the way around. And we're just going for a nice round cap on there. Gotta lose all these little unsawed marks right down to the bottom. Rounding as we go. Try to get rid of any flat spots as we go. But that's pretty much got it. Around these little pointy edges a bit. No sharp corners. Nice and round. I'd say that's it. Alright, there's your rough little mushroom cap. Now, like I said, this is the front corner here, so we want to save this part for the nose, so don't take that corner off just yet. But if we go to the bottom and we come across, let's draw an X across the bottom. Alright, let's just draw like a little circle. Doug, you're not drawing a very good circle. Doesn't matter. Just give you a little outline. Your knife will do a better job. But maybe about an inch wide in the bottom. Draw a little circle. And from about halfway, let's just whittle to that line. Nice and evenly. From about halfway, give or take. Whatever. Alright. Just kind of whittling up to that line, giving a nice roundish bottom. All right. That's why I say my drawing's not as good, but the knife knows what's round. See that? Alright, now take these sides, points off a bit, but basically, without touching the front nose here, on the three sides, kind of do the same thing up to the bottom of the mushroom cap. All we're doing, we just want that little sweep, a little arching, rounded side. All right. Oh, I forgot that side up top. We don't want any of those flat sides from the pieces of wood left. We want them all, little facets on them all. Alright? Just keep looking at it. Making sure it's symmetrical. See, that side's smoother, this side's pointier, so we'll come over this side. Round that a little bit more again. We're getting there. We're getting there. You'll notice when I come one way or the other way, sometimes it lifts the grain instead of slicing it. So you just go the other way or do a shallower cut. Alright, but that's pretty uniform. I'm going to dig this all in a little bit more though. I'm going to bring that down and give a little bit more of an undercut to that mushroom cap. There. So, you see how we're uniform bottom all the way around. Nice little swales on both sides, fairly uniform. This one here can come a little bit, it can be a little bit bottom heavy, in fact, instead of being perfectly centered. We'll do that. It's a little bit more bottom heavy. Like people. There. Yeah, I like that shape better. A little bit more heavy on the bottom. So, alright. Let's come up from the bottom. What's that, an inch? Yeah, let's call it an inch. And an inch is what, 26 mil? I'm just going to set that nose in. Just coming in square for now. Give him the bottom of the nose. Yeah. Then we want room for the eyes, so let's just come up about, well, let's do it right. What do we got here? Let's come up an inch and a half, 38 mils or so. Not crucial. You can do whatever you want. But same thing. Just coming in straight for now. And there's your nose is set in place. But now I'm going to come on an angle with my knife. We can draw a center line back in there. That helps. Alright. I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to come on an angle. I'm going to come down that center point. But I'm going to come across the nose on an angle as well. Alright. See that? I'll do the exact same thing on this side. An angle and an angle. And then we're going to refine our center mark. So they're exactly the same on both sides. This guy's going to have bigger eyes than my one in the past. center, center. All right. Bottom of the nose, same idea. Going to come back on an angle. Going to come up to it. Both sides the same. All right. Now we can really round that the bottom off here. Make it the same all the way around. Again, see I got some flat spots here still on the side of the nose. So let's get the sides of the nose set in, and then we'll know exactly where we are. So as far as the nose goes, I'm just going to come on the sides like that. Now, we're not cutting in. If anything, I'm cutting out a little bit on an angle. So I'm just going to come down to the thickness or the depth of the bottom of the nose and come across. See that? Alright. Bring the sides up a little bit in the nose. Okay, that's a funny looking nose, so we can take some off of there. We can take some off the bottom. Now, if you say that doesn't look like a mushroom nose, I'll have to argue with you that you've ever seen a mushroom nose before. So, there's our there we go. Eyes and nose in place. Alright? All the while, just keep cleaning up your carving. Anything that looks wrong. I like to sometimes just come down the bottom of the nose here. Take a little deep cut in there and see how that really pulled the nose out from that side. Any shadows that you can create are going to help your carving. All right. Right there. All right. My little shoe brush here. And that's where we are. All right, with our little mushroom man here, I'm gonna put some little swales in the cap here. You see those lines on there? And all I'm gonna do is just gonna roll my knife. Just rolling my knife. If you have a gouge, you can use a gouge. But I just want to give a little bit of a little waviness to the cap. So like I said, if you got a gouge, you can use a gouge. But if you just roll your knife without getting that, what do you call that noise? Little catches. But so I'm just tipping my knife fairly shallow. If you go too deep, you're going to get that chirping of your knife. But you see how there's a little bit of a little dips in there. You can do that on. You can do as many spots as you want, but I'm just going to do the 4 here. Chatter. That's my word. I'm looking for chatter. You don't want any knife chatter. So shallow enough not to make your knife chatter. There, just enough. You can really see that now. You see how this gives it like a little more flair, a little more detail. All right. Yeah, and any sharp edges, just take off any little sharp edges. You want it to look very natural, not wrinkled. Alright, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to go underneath of here, and I'm just going to put my finger against there, and I'm only going to give maybe a healthy 1/16, not quite an eighth. I'm just drawing a line around the bottom of that cap. You see that? Oh, I just drew a line underneath there. And the idea behind this is I want to get these gills set out so you can see them. I don't want the gills hiding. I want the gills pronounced. So I'm going to take my knife. Actually, I'm going to use a V-tool. If you have a V-tool, this is a V-tool, this is a V-tool. I'm going to go with the little, this is the DocWorks little mini V-tool. It's 3 millimeters. I'm just going to follow that all the way around after I put my glasses on. Alright, I'm just going to follow that line around. There is room to make mistakes here because we're going to clean it up after, but just following that line nice and slowly. Don't push too hard or you'll stick it in your hand or pop it out. Alright, following that line. You can do this with your knife as well. Actually, I did the other ones with my knife, but I thought this will be easier if you have a V-tool. Alright. There you go. See that little outline underneath there? Alright, now I'm going to take my V-tool. I don't know if you can see that good. And I'm just going to run that V-tool into the mushroom. Alright. Just kind of following the angle around. So kind of straight in from all sides. So that's always going straight in. We don't want any angle cuts, we want straight into the body. Now I've been calling these gills, and I don't know why. So I did a quick little Google search for parts of the mushroom. And guess what these are called? They're called gills. So now I've got all these little rough spots here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to undercut with my knife. And again, this is going to create more shadow. But by undercutting that, it's going to clean that bottom edge up and give a nice shadow. Alright. You see that? See that nice little undercut there compared to that? These are the things, even though this is beginner carving, these little things like this, the undercuts and the little extra cuts that give shadows, they really change your whole carving. Make it look like you know what you're doing. Alright, so we can go all the way around, bottoms, and undercut those gills. Push that in. Alright, now you got your bottom all cleaned up. I'm just going to take this angle here and right into that little V cut there. I'm just going to give a little bit of an angle all the way around, right to the base of those gills. See that? See how I cut that up? And now the gills are below the cap. Alright, and that's just a good way to show them off. Alright, you go all the way around. There, like that. Don't get too caught up with the uniformity of your edges. This is just random and rough. All right. And then we can do the exact same thing. You can see how that, or can you? See the gills are below the cap. If you really want to do a little extra, same thing. Stick your tip of your knife in there and go around that. If you do that little cut in there like that, look at the depth that creates. So depths and shadows are what gives you that real nice clean look. So like that's so much nicer than that. All right, so a little finicky, but I think it's worth it. Come on. Always one wants to hang on there. Alright, there you go. There. The bottom's all undercut, and that's pretty much the icing on the cake for our cap. So, I'm going to take my pencil here and draw some eyes on here. We're not going to do any crazy eyes here, just our regular old cartoon eyes. I always come in from the side and swoop up, and from the side swoop up. Like so. Alright, stick my knife in. Gotta tell you, you know why I like whittling so much? I like whittling because it's probably a little after 7 in the morning, and I've already done, this is my second mushroom man of the morning, but it's such a nice quiet hobby that you don't disturb anybody unless you're talking to a camera too loud. But just, so I cut in on an angle and I'm coming back to it on an angle, and I come underneath there, just making those eyes. Alright. depth in the corners, again with the creating more shadow. I'm gonna back cut, take those pencil lines off, come out to the edge, so. All right. Now we can dig those sides in a little bit more. Again, the deeper you go, the better with your cuts. If you never make a mushroom, just remember what I was saying about the cuts. You can see how one side of the eye pops so much more than the other side. So just an extra step, but just one little deeper cut, and you really create those shadows. And that's what makes them stand out. Alright? Alright, now it's going to a little bit of rounding, not too much. Just again, taking off any little sharp points. I'm not going to separate the eyes. Just going to leave them as is. But there we go. I think all we got left is one big smile. As far as the smile goes, how did I start out here? I started out with a smile, uniform smile like that. But the last one I did, see how I put it off like that? And I like that a lot. So I'm going to do that again. I think we'll just come in a little bit lower on one side, and then bring it up higher on the other side. Alright, see that? A little bit lower here, a little bit higher here. That gives it a little bit more expression, a little bit of a character. Just gonna stick my knife right in there. I'm gonna follow that around. I'm gonna come right up the other side. I'm gonna come down from the top. I'm actually gonna take off a fair bit. All right. Leaving the bottom out fatter, but taking off a good chunk of wood above it. Just flaring it right down into that. So you can see that's it rough. But now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it. Same thing. We're going to just double cut this. And I want to get more depth, so I'm going to real sharp angle. Taking a real skinny slice out of there, just to give it that depth that we want. Just a real skinny slice. All right, that's it. All right, and then I like to put little smile stops. So I'm going to come in on an angle, punch in my knife. I'm just going to take a little chip out of there. The old smile stopper. See that? Same thing, only maybe a little different angle, maybe more flat on this side. I'm going to come in, just pop that little chip out of there. There you go. Put my pencil line on there. Alright. What a cutie. Here's a cutie. Alright. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of a lip on the bottom here. Not all the way around. just the lip, but since the smile is a little bit off-centered, the lip is going to be a little bit off-centered, alright? And now it's just going to give a little, like, again, a little roll of the knife. That's all I'm doing. And then I'm going to come up. Hard to describe this part, but I want to come up into that smile cut. So I want to flare that down or cut that down just so that the lip does not appear to come up. Just going to slice into that smile cut. All right. A little similar on the other side, not as drastic, but just bringing that, flattening it into that cut. I know it's hard to see, but I just don't want that bottom lip to look like it comes all the way around. I just want it around a little bit here. Maybe dig a little more out of the center. There we go. It's kind of cute. Alright. Now I'm just going to go around, look at the whole thing as a whole. And I think we got her licked. People always ask me where I got my my old shoe brush here, but that's just an old antique I picked up. I think I got it for $1 at a garage sale. So if you ever see one, don't let it go by because they're a handy little thing. So much better than a toothbrush or something. It's got soft bristles, it won't hurt your work, and it cleans out all the little fuzzies. Maybe we'll take a little bit off of the edge of the eyes. Onto the nose. Alright, so by all intents and purposes, that mushroom is done. If you want to do anything, you could take a gouge. You could put a little snot trough. Let's do that. So again, with the smile being off center, the snot trough is going to be like that. And I say snot trough because somebody does not like that word and they always have to correct me every time I say it. So for that reason, I have to keep saying snot trough. See that? How I lifted that little center part there. And if I have a smaller one, here's a little another Doc Works. That's a 5mm gouge. I can go into the nose and put in some nostrils. And again, not we were done before we did this. This is just extras. Clean up those little gouge marks. That does not like the direction, but all right. I'm gonna screw it up on the last cuts here. The gouge did not like going up like that, but so just by doing that, we added some more character with that. But anyway, you want to paint them? Let's paint them together. We can do that. All right, I got paper towel, got a little eyedropper water, I got a little jug of water, paintbrushes. Let's get painting. I'm gonna start with the eyes. I always do the eyes first because it's a two-part paint. So you got to put eyeballs on the eye after. So I'm gonna take a fine brush. Any brushes do. These are art mines or something. These are just paintbrushes from Michael's craft store. So nothing special. But I'm gonna paint the whites of the eyes. But when I say whites, I never use white on the eyes. I always use a kind of an antique-y white. This is I don't know. I don't see a name. So anyway, it's an off-white, and so I'm just gonna paint the eyeballs here, or the whites of the eyes, and that gives it time to dry, and then I can come back and do the eyeball after. I'm not going to paint the body. I'm going to just oil the body, but we'll paint the cap and the gills, and then we'll give a little bit of a blush after the oil. All right. Take your time. I've screwed up more carvings on the painting than on the actual carving. So. Right, there's the whites, or the off-whites. Now, I've already got a green cap fella, so I think we're going to go with red. Let's do red. So all I'm going to do for this, I'm going to give just a drop. It's a healthy drop. And that's why I like my eyedropper. Just a little bit of water added to that. I always say like eight drops to one, but there's no science. Just don't get too caught up with anything. Pick your colors, whatever you like. Make it your own. Make it fun. I see a lot of people that take things way too seriously, and it's not. It's fun. It's for you. So I take my brush here. It's going to go around, and this is where you'll see those deep cuts really help your painting. You just lay the paint right on the edge, and it doesn't want to bleed through. Like it won't bleed over because of that deep little groove, little ditch you dug between the different areas of the carving. All right. Starting on the bottom here. This brush could be a little bit smaller, but oh, I like the red. The red's going to make that really pop. All right. But we did we watered it down so it can really soak in and not be solid. You can still see that it's wood. We don't want our carving to look like a piece of plastic that you can get at the dollar store. We want it to have a real soft wood look. This really is soaking in. So, there you go. And then any light spots, just go over them again. You can't hurt it. But there's our red cap mushroom. We're going to dig out some black here. Take a real fine little brush here. We're going to do two little black little eyeballs. I find if I hold things upside down, I can see a little bit better sometimes. So, that one's bigger than that one, so we'll go back and give it a little more size. Good enough. Alright. Couple eyeballs. They still need a little reflective dot, but that's when we're moving to our white. On these guys here, with the green cap, I gave them the yellow gills, and I put yellow dots on. Now, there's no rule that they have to be the same, but I think it's a good idea to keep them the same family. And I think since I'm going to go with the white polka dots on top of the red cap, I'm going to do pure white underneath for the fins. Now I say fins. Gills. Fins, gills, whatever. But so we'll dig out some white here, some true white, and I am going to wet down a little bit for under the gills so that'll really soak up in, but the dots are going to be solid white paint. All right? And that's the train. Mix that up a little bit. All right, let's paint some gills. A little more tedious than the other, but same thing with that little trough on there. It gives a nice sharp edge to the colors. Barely see it. I'm going to paint that white and I'll come back for the polka dots. Alright, we've got our gills painted white, and they don't show up worth a pinch, but when I oil it you'll see that they're white. Okay, so now that was watered down white, so let's use a solid color, and we're just going to put some dots on here. I'm not going to, no rhyme or reason. Try not to get too uniform. And just put some dots on there. I don't mind that paint a little bit heavier either. And it gives a little bit of a texture. But you can do purple polka dots if you want. It's no... Oh dear. I'm ready for another coffee. That's what I'm ready for. Anyway, that's the idea. Alright. No dots? Dots. I'm just going to finish this up, and we're getting there. We're almost there. Couldn't let you miss this part. This is my favorite part of the carving here. Putting these little dots on here, and that just brings that guy right to life, eh? Yeah. Hello. Okay, we're gonna put some oil on this fella, and then a little bit of blush. When I say oil, I use boiled linseed oil, but don't get caught up that you need to have boiled linseed oil or whatever. Any oil will do. You can paint. You could have painted the stock. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. It's your carving. Do what you want with it. I'm going to use boiled linseed oil, but this is a very white wood, if you can see, and I want to give it a little bit of oomph, a little bit of depth to it. So I'm going to use boiled linseed oil, and I put just a pinch, and when I say a pinch, like just a pinch of burnt umber oil paint in it, and that's my little special little mix here. And see how that's got a little bit of a golden brown color. The other one's a little bit more clear, and so that's what I'm going to paint on here. I keep a brush in the thinners right here, just a disposable brush. You can dunk it if you want, but I just keep a little disposable brush, and I'm going to use my little special mix of linseed oil, a little bit of color, tiny bit of color. All right, so. Well, I jumped the gun on that one since I made little gobs of paint, and got some little mushroom speckles, but I didn't smear anything, so I think we're good to go. So I just dip that in there and just start gobbing it on. Just not very dark at all. Could have been even darker, I think. But like I said, that does not take much of the other paints to give it the color, so you can overdo it pretty quick, so this will be fine. Oh, we're almost there. One more step after this. Bob's your uncle. Alright, so I'm going to let that soak in a bit, and you'll notice as that soaks in, it kind of makes the grain pop a little bit too. Not a lot of grain on this, but the little bit that there is will end up popping just a little bit. And then you know that you're dealing with wood, not a piece of plastic. So let that soak in, and we'll be back for the finale. All right, that's where we are. Not much color. Could have been a little bit darker, but regardless, you can see the difference between the white of the gills. So that's a good thing. All right. So the last step I'm going to do is I keep a little tray here, and this one here is a little bit of red, but super watered down, almost a very light pink water, and I'm just going to touch that on his bottom lip here and just give that little hue of pink, little fleshiness to his mouth. Not much at all. Not much at all, but just a little more than that. All right. Oh. Can you see the little bit of color there? And then just a little bit on the cheeks. And being on top of oil, it gives you a little bit of play. You can always clean it off if you put too much on, but we'll give them a real blush. Can you see that little bit of color? Just a little bit of color on there. All right. Well, folks, I think that's it. I think we did it. There's our little mushroom character. Fun, fairly simple little whittle, and yeah, it's kind of cute. I like it. So there you go. Hope you like this kind of thing. Give it a try, make it your own, and have fun with it. Because if you don't have fun with it, then you might as well go for a walk, right? So, I don't know. I'm pleased with this guy, so there you go. See you in the next one, guys. See ya.